Hello, you are welcome to another great episode of Introduction to Political Science. A quick reminder from where we stopped from the last video. If you can recall, you will agree with me that we have done justice to Introduction to Political Science. We've nations today were copy and paste from the colonial masters. That was the constitution that they used to guide us while we were being colonized. So majority of African nations just went to those documents and copy some foundations, some basics, add them to their own new constitution. At the end of the day, it was not the gathering of the people that actually made the constitution. For example, the issue of Nigerian constitution, when you open the constitution, what you will see is that we the people of Nigeria, and of which there was no we. My father was not called, your fathers were not called, our forefathers were not called to have a meeting together to talk about how we should be governed. There was nothing that was being discussed by the North and the South, the Northern Protectorate and the Southern Protectorate that was forcefully amalgamated together were not even consulted. They just went ahead and did that, and as a result we have the North and the South put together as Nigeria today, and that has been the bedrock of a lot of crises in Nigeria. This forceful amalgamation was not done for the interest of Nigeria as a whole, but for the easy ruling of the British, and also for easy transport of groundnut from the north that is landlocked to the south that has access to the ocean. This is exactly what happened to the constitution of African nations. They were not meant for the African man, but they were meant for the colonial masters to be able to divide us and rule. It is so pathetic that many African nations still have some element of those constitutions in their new constitution, and if that is not being sorted out, Africa may not be able to get its footstep in the international politics. Particular notion that you are meant to understand also is is the fact that a lot of European scholars have claimed that the idea of constitution came from Europe and not Africa. But some African scholars have also argued the fact that the way African nations were ruling their citizens, the kingship, the monarchy system, was through constitutionalism, and it was mainly unwritten constitution. That will now take us to types of constitution. A constitution can be written constitution or unwritten constitution. A constitution can also be a rigid constitution or flexible constitution. A constitution can also be unitary constitution or federal constitution. We will begin with flexible constitution. These are constitutions whose fundamental law can be changed or amended easily by a simple majority vote of the members of parliament. Countries who practice this type of constitution are always very small in size. Countries like Great Britain and Ghana still practice this flexible constitution. The next one we'll be considering is the rigid constitution. A constitution can be classified rigid when it falls among the group of fundamental laws that cannot be easily changed or amended because it requires special and difficult process. This implies that the process of amending such constitution is different from the normal way of making laws in the country, so it is always very difficult and complicated. Countries that practice such rigid constitution are United States of America, Canada, and Nigeria, among others. With that being said, let's move to written constitution. A constitution can be a written constitution when the body of rules and regulation and fundamental laws are being written and codified in a single document that can be accessed at any time. Countries like Nigeria, Ghana, America, United States, Netherlands, and the rest have a written constitution. When we refer to any state having an unwritten constitution, it means that the guideline by which the country is governed is traditional and not being written in a single document. This implies that the fundamental laws according to which the state is being governed are based on conventions, customs, usage, and norms. The Great Britain is a very good example of countries practicing unwritten constitution. This means that the Britain Constitution is more or less a product of a historic evolution. For the remaining types of constitution, we may not be able to address them now. They are very easy. You see them in your handout, so you can just quickly brush them through in the handout when you see them.
Unitary Constitution. A government is regarded as unitary when the national or central government is supreme over other levels of government that might exist in a given state. Other levels of government referred to in the above definition are the local governments or units. The central government has full legal right to overrule such local governments. They are not only created by the center, they owe their existence to the center and are subordinate to the national government. Federal Constitution. A country with a federal constitution is called a federation, and its government is referred to as a federal system of government. A federal constitution or system can be defined as a constitutional arrangement in which the powers of government are distributed between the central and component units. In its strict sense, it means the distribution of powers between the government at the federal level and those of the federating or coordinate states who are relatively autonomous. Confederal Constitution. Confederation is a league or union of many sovereign states for a common purpose. A confederation has also been defined as that arrangement in which two or more sovereign and independent states agree to come together to have a central but weak government. In other words, the term of a confederation applies to a union of states, which is less binding in character than a federation. Examples of confederal states are the United States between 1776 and 1789, The United Netherlands in 1579. The German constitutions of 1815 to 1867 and 1867 to 1871, before and after the unification of Prussia with other German